Hi guys, today I'm here with an Oily Skin Diaries review. We are going to be putting a brand new foundation to the test. New from Tarte and launching on May 21st is the Amazonian Clay Stick Foundation. And I'm really excited to try this because the claims seem to be right up my alley. I have the entire collection as well. So I'm going to be doing face swatches at the end of this video. So I'll list timestamps in the description whether you want to see application, before and after, flash photo test, how it lasted throughout the day. So if there's just one or two items that you're interested in, you can click that. As well, my 30,000 subscriber giveaway is happening, so I will link to that down below if you would like to win what I'd like to call a boatload of makeup. But let's go ahead and get started. So the Tarte Amazonian Clay Stick Foundation comes in a pretty typical stick foundation format. It's a really nice sleek tube. It's got kind of this cool, I guess, wooden kind of emblem along the top there. You get 9 grams of product in here, which is on par to the Anastasia stick foundation, a little bit more than the Hourglass and a little bit less than the Makeup Forever. It's going to retail for $39 American. I don't have the Canadian price, but like just tack on a few dollars there. And as I mentioned, it is going to be launching on the 21st on Tarte Cosmetics. It also is recommended to be used with one of their new brushes. This is the Smoothie Blender brush. So it's just kind of got a bit of an angled top there, quite dense, but really, really soft. And this is going to retail for $29 American. This foundation comes in 12 different shades, which is pretty good. But Tarte, what I've seen in a lot of their complexion products, like the Rainforest of the Sea foundation or the Shape Tape, is they put the line out there, see how people react, and then they have added shades after, I guess, they've seen where the demand is, which I think is really good because I always appreciate a big shade range. I always have a lot of trouble matching myself. Today I'm going to be wearing the shade Tan Sand all over my face, but then I wanted to play around with some of the other shades as well to see how they act like contour and highlights, because you may not want to use this as a stick foundation. You may want to grab it for highlighting and contouring. So towards the center of my face as more of a highlight, I'm going to be wearing the shade Medium Neutral, and then on the kind of outer perimeter and contours of my face, I'm going to be using the shade Tan Deep Sand. I have very oily skin. I'm about an NC42 at MAC. I'm going to use a brush on one half of my face, the recommended smoothie brush, and then I'll use a beauty blender over here just to see how it reacts. And I'm not wearing any primer today, just my regular moisturizer. This foundation says it is a 12-hour multi-dimensional matte foundation that feeds your appetite for full, creamy coverage and good-for-you nutrients. Quick and concentrated powder to liquid formula melts into skin. Micro-encapsulated powders burst with your body heat to keep your skin shine and cake free. Amazonian Clay is a skin balancing powerhouse that hydrates and mattifies. It is multitasking, blendable, and buildable. So I just did one half of my face with that brush, as you can see, and it blended out really nicely. Right off the bat, I don't feel like it's incredibly full coverage, but it definitely seems very buildable, and it's blending out nicely with the beauty blender as well. I think this is a good color match. It does feel really creamy, like it glides on really nicely. I don't have time to light stick foundations with a lighter like I see on Instagram sometimes. That's just not going to be a part of my morning routine, so I'm glad that it blends out really nicely, and I think it looks good with both the sponge and beauty blender. Personal preference. I'm going to put some of the Tan Deep Honey. It's really not much deeper than my skin. I'm not looking to go for like a super contoured look. I'll probably be able to use Tan Deep Honey in the summer, actually, when I get a little bit more color. And then I'm just going to put some of this in the center of my face. And what I like about this is sometimes I use concealers for this, and they're definitely more dewy concealers, or they're definitely not mattifying concealers. So if you have really oily skin and you don't want a cream contour necessarily, something like a matte foundation stick might be a better option for you. I'm just going to blend all of this out with a beauty blender. I prefer to do this kind of thing with a beauty blender. But I do really like that brush, and I think it would be really nice for not only this foundation, but just like any liquid that you're trying to get good coverage out of. I am still going to put a little bit of concealer under my eyes. So here is a close-up of my skin. I think that it's at about a medium coverage right now. I think it looks really natural on the skin. Doesn't look like it's highlighting any pores or anything, but I don't think it's dried down to like a complete matte finish, but I set everything with a powder no matter what. So I have the rest of my makeup on now. I powdered really lightly with the Amazonian Clay Powder Foundation, and then to keep the Tarte theme going, I used the Shape Tape. It has an incredibly lightweight finish on my skin. I don't feel like it's enhancing my pores. I think that if you looked really close to my skin, skin. Obviously I'm wearing makeup, but I do feel like the finish is quite natural. It didn't dry down to a completely matte finish, but for me, I'm okay with that. I'm going to be powdering anyways. I didn't use a setting spray or anything like that. If you're curious what's on my face, I will list it all down below. And it also performed really well in photographs. It's not listed to have any SPF in there, so I think that just on my kind of iPhone, I took a picture with no flash, just with the foundation, and I think that it looked really good. And then on my filming camera, I kind of dimmed my lights and took a flash photo, and I thought that it performed amazing. Looks so good on the skin, and no white cast or anything like that. There's also no real scent to the foundation, and it glides on really smoothly, which I appreciate because sometimes stick foundations can be quite almost dry and drag on your skin, but not the case. So I'm gonna go ahead about my day, and it is about 9:30 right now, so I will check back with you at the end of it. So it is now the end of my makeup day. It is currently 6:31, so I've had this foundation on for about 8.5 hours, and I've got to say, overall, I'm really happy with the way that it looks. I'm definitely a little bit shiny. I actually have my studio lighting turned down a little bit because I find that can sometimes make how oily my face looks even worse. So this is a pretty true representation of the oil on my skin. I definitely have a very oily skin type, and as I've said before, it's not really if a foundation is going to stop oil production, it's going to be how much oil can it prevent and how long does it take for it to break through. So at about the 3-hour mark, I definitely started to see the oiliness come through, but it didn't really get worse than that. It's just kind of stayed consistent. Generally, I will blot throughout the day or powder, so I thought that I would blot now just to see how it acts with blotting. I don't feel like it has oxidized on my skin. It has rubbed away a little bit around my nose. That's due to me touching it. So now that I've blotted, I think it looks a lot better, and I'm just gonna go over my skin with a kabuki brush. There's actually no powder that I've put on it, so that way I'm not really like caking up my face. But I think it looks good, and I would definitely continue to wear it like it is now. It didn't oxidize on my skin. It definitely was a little bit warm because the contour that I used was just kind of warm, but I do think that it did really well. My only kind of qualm about this is I don't think that it is as full coverage as it claims to be. I think that you could potentially build it up, but I find my skin personally doesn't like building up a foundation too much that isn't as full coverage. So if you had a really full coverage foundation with a few swipes, you're good to go. This one is just more buildable, and I felt like I almost put too much on my skin trying to build it up. So this is something that I'm definitely going to wear as a little bit of a lighter application, which I've really been enjoying lately, and I really loved the way it looked after I just did kind of like 3 or 4 swipes on this side, 3 or 4 swipes on this side, and blended it out, evened out my skin tone, looked super natural. If you have issues with pores, you may want to grab for a pore filling primer. I basically say that with any foundation that I review. I'm definitely going to try this out with a few more primers and different setting sprays, different powders, and I will report back in a monthly favorites or something like that. I'm going to be doing more foundation roundups as well. But overall, I do really enjoy this foundation. Let me know down below if you plan on picking it up when it launches. If you have oily skin, I think that this could be something for you to try. If you have combination or normal skin, this seems like it'd be really well suited for you. And if you have dry skin, it's definitely very creamy, but you may need the help of an oil just to help add the extra bit of hydration, because it's not like the most creamy, dewy foundation ever. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my blog post down below on this foundation if you're curious to see more swatches and enter my 30,000 subscriber giveaway. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Oh, my lid just got brighter, did it? That's SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!